Good evening and welcome to What's Your Story? Tonight we are sitting down with our friend Russ Grady, who has been on a bit of an adventure in the last several months, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, with a new business. Is that right?
It is right, yeah.
So, but welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for finally
I know.
sitting down and talking with us.
It's so fun to be here.
Yeah. So you and your wife, Julie,
Yes.
have just opened a new business.
We did.
Lighthouse Real Estate Group?
Yes, in May of this year.
May. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that's very exciting.
Yeah, wonderful.
So a lot of hard work, though.
It is. You know, there's a lot of hard work, a lot of preparation. But then once it's up and running, and all credit goes to Julie, it's business as usual. But, you know, you're in charge and you're able to make decisions, and it's been a wonderful thing. Everything that we'd hoped it would be.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. And the I see, you know, signs out and about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is just, it's just really wonderful to see.
Yeah, it is. And we have a wonderful team that came with us from day one, and in fact encouraged Julie and I to take that leap. So, you know, without their encouragement and then being part of the team, you know, I'm not sure it would have happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's what community is all about, right?
And friendships,
helping each other, and So, did you grow up around here, Russ?
No, I grew up in Clinton, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So a small mill town just outside of Worcester.
Yeah.
I like to say it's an Irish Biddeford.
An Irish Biddeford.
But a much smaller one. I met Julie at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. I was a senior, she was a junior. And it was she and her family who had a place in Hills Beach that drew us up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of... So, had you ever been to Maine before?
No, I grew up a New Hampshire mountains and lakes getaway family. I was, you know, in the middle of Mass where you were either heading to the Cape in the night or Maine or up into the mountains and lakes. So I was mountains and lakes. Julie was, you know, Hills Beach, wonderful spot. And it kind of funny, we spent so much time there. And the joke is always we were newly married, sitting at their place, you know, on the ocean, eating their food, drinking their beer, thinking life is great. And it wasn't until one day, stuck on 95 in Ogunquit, I think, back in the old two-lane I-95 days, where we said, why don't we just make this home?
Yeah.
Put very little thought into it.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be one of the best decisions we've ever made.
Yeah. So, and you've been a big part of this community in some of the different organizations here. So you've really made a good mark.
Yeah. Well, we dove in head first. It's certainly my personality. Julie might not dive in head first, but she dives in as well. You know, we're different in a few ways, but yeah, the town made it easy to do.
Yeah.
Whether it's by chance or just by way of how the town is and was. I met some incredible people who encouraged, who welcomed, and opened doors, and they made it easy.
Wow. And you raised your boys here.
We raised our two boys here, Patrick and Christopher.
Now, are you empty nesters now?
Christopher's back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he goes and he comes back. Pat comes back every
did
now
that
and then
many
too.
times.
Yeah. No, but, you know, almost. And it's a very good situation. You know, both boys are doing great things. They're happy. They're healthy.
Yeah.
All we could ask for.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
So in your spare time, you are part of the Conservation Trust. You've been on the trust for quite a while.
Yeah, I forget how long. It just happened. You know, it started with Julie and I walking from home to the Emmons Preserve, walking down the dirt road covered by trees, putting the boys up on a tree limb. One day there was a tree down, decided to clear it. I knocked on the door and said, "Hey, Tom, I moved a tree." "Oh, great, thank you."
And Tom, being Tom, said, "Hey, by the way."
And it grew into an opportunity when I was working at Liberty Mutual, and they created a Serve with Liberty campaign. I thought, boy, what a great way for me to maybe book a volunteer day on a Friday, get an extended weekend, spend time at a place that I love, and started some organizing volunteer events at the Trust through Liberty. 60 people, 50 people, 40 people. And it was sometime around there that I got this wonderful little postcard inviting me to be a trustee, and then shortly after on the board of directors.
Wow. So when do you think that was? What about the time frame of that?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's been at least on the board of directors 10 years.
Okay.
Close to, plus or minus.
Yeah.
Trustee a little bit longer. I think I even showed up at the board meetings as a trustee, like voting to approve certain things, not even knowing what my role was. But just really grateful to be there and to be in a room of just very diverse and wonderful people, different backgrounds. Often sitting there saying, what the heck am I doing here? I mean, look at so-and-so, he's a veterinarian, or she's a professor, he's a professor. But none of that ever comes to play when you're doing things at the trust. It's everybody's, regardless of your background, you're there to do good things.
Yeah, and you all do. I mean, it is amazing to see the properties and, the care that goes into, being able to have a green space right down the street from us, or
the village
green, or just the variety that's out there, and it's just very smart thinking. I think about places that could have been something else.
Oh yeah.
And think about all those crazy people in New York City. If they didn't have a Central Park, they'd be even crazier,
oh, yeah,
right?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Sometimes you scratch your head, right? And we as an organization challenge ourselves. So, like, when is it enough, or how much is enough? You read articles, many different opinions on the matter. And we're lucky to be at a spot where we've conserved a lot of land, and really valuable parcels of land. And now we're working on our strategy for the next 50 years.
Yep.
And kind of trying to figure out, are there special parcels that remain? And if so, great, we've identified them. And then also saying, okay, well, with what we have, what's our strategy forward? How we should shift. We've always cared for them, but we need to be a little more thoughtful in our management plan of certain preserves or Goat Island, or things of that nature.
Yeah.
So a lot of work going on there around strategy, where we are, what's our, what's the next 5 years look like? What does the next 50 years look like?
Yeah. Now, if somebody had a parcel, how would they go about getting in touch with you if that was something that they wanted to do?
Yeah, so they'd reach out to Tom, our executive director at the trust. And
you're talking about Tom Bradbury.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah. That's okay.
Reach out to Tom Bradbury. I kind of joked a year or so ago, it seems like the days of receiving donations of property have passed, and we've been purchasing some. Not entirely true. Just recently we're working on a donation from a woman out that way, I'll say. And so it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And she reached out to Tom, and we have kind of a process that we go through as a board for acceptance. And then we help the landowner with the entire process. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really great. So they know how to go about conveying the property to you, and
how to convey it.
Yeah.
And we encourage to speak to their tax attorney or their accountant as well, because there could be benefits there that's above our pay grade.
Yeah.
But connect them with the right people, or encourage them to meet with certain types of people, so that it's a wonderful thing for everybody.
Yeah. So getting back to your business.
Yes.
So how many people do you have with you right now?
So not including myself, there are 3, Julie, and Heather.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you seen any slowdown at all?
In different pockets. Overall, no. But there are different pockets where the property has to be like special in order for it to move fast in that price range.
Yeah.
Some of the inventory does sit, but it's still rather hectic and busy. And it's, I guess, starting a new business, it's a good thing at the moment.
Yeah, I think anytime you do that, it's just such a, are we ready for this?
Yeah.
But I mean, you both have such great personalities and are very caring people, so I'm sure it's working out.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that at a minimum it would be a wonderful thing if it was just Julie and I. We're grateful that it's not, and we'd love to see some growth there. But if it remains a small team, we're super happy with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd love to grow a little bit.
Yeah. Do you think your boys would ever have any interest?
I don't think so. Patrick just graduated with a master's in public health down in Boston. And it's a tough market, but he's active in pursuing, work there. Christopher is engaged in property management and landscape, has expressed an interest here and there, but it's nothing that we push. It has to be organic and genuine. And if it is, wonderful. If it's not, that's okay too.
So when you're not working, what do you like to do?
Yeah, I keep busy. Oh, I've kept busy volunteering.
Yeah.
So I've been on the fire department now for 25 years. The trust, I serve as board president. I have for about 4 years now. Keeps me a little busier than it does, otherwise. But Julie and I, we love to do day trips.
Yeah.
So whether it's up to the Mid-Coast region, Booth Bay Harbor, or some of the usual spots, the Botanical Gardens.
Yeah.
Haven't made it there this year, and I really want to.
Do you know we have a free pass here at Graves Library?
Yes.
You can call us up.
It's a matter of committing our time and doing it.
Exactly.
Which is easy for me, usually tough for Julie often.
Yeah.
And then we like to head out to the Freiburg area. We
nice.
recently purchased some land out there on a pond with an unsure future, but just to have something and to give consideration to that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great.
Day trips are fun.
Day trips are fun, and they're doable.
They're doable, and the neat thing is at the end of the day, we come home to a place we love, and whether it's at a bench on Parsons Way or down at the AYC or at Goose Rocks Beach, it's like you can start your day, go for a hike, maybe have a lovely lunch somewhere, and see the sunset here on the beach, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that sounds like a really nice day.
We get a few of them in, not always. I wish every day were like that, but that's not the case.
I know, it's so true. We live in paradise, but it's tough when other people come and they're having such a wonderful time, and we go back and forth to work.
I know.
So I'm attending a wedding this weekend here in Kennebunkport.
Nice.
And so my husband and I are coming on Thursday.
Yeah.
And staying in Kennebunkport through the weekend.
That's cool.
And even though I'm here every day, I mean, I am so looking forward to having some time in this beautiful town.
Yeah, and to have time off and to wander and walk, and it's wonderful.
Because otherwise my car just kind of does.
Yeah. We've come into town with great intention several times and turned right around and headed back home. So whether it's the buses or whatever else is going on, we often will leave a little disappointed, but we'll just say, I hope they're spending money at so-and-so store,
Yeah, exactly.
Supporting our friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, are you still on the fire department helping out? You are, okay.
Yeah, little, I'd say less of a role. We have luckily, we've got some younger folks who grew up in town.
Yes.
Who, the Champagne, young Champagne men, and Nate Shore, Ro and Billy. So it's wonderful to see some of that young blood coming to the department.
Right.
So shifting kind of my assistance and help to areas where it's still helpful. I'm out of the way when I need to be.
Yeah.
I help manage the department's Facebook page.
Yep.
So I try to work with Chief there to make sure we're positive, we're informative, and we celebrate good. So I help out in different ways where maybe I don't have to put on the gear and get blisters in the boots.
Well, I just think, when I tell people about what happens here in town and the volunteer firefighters that are, calling, going to calls, and I just think it's a really wonderful, a wonderful thing to be part of, but also for those of us that watch, from the outside, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. If I have a call here and something's going on, it's you all show up.
Yeah.
So, and I never take that for granted, but I'm just so thankful. When there is something going on and we have to. We have to make that call.
It's a special organization. We've had some great chiefs and have a great chief in it, but under that, it's always been a special organization. I've met some of the nicest people through the fire department. Yeah. Mr. Kelly, for one.
Producer Mike Kelly over there.
Yeah. Dan Beard, another one. Jim Stock. I mean, these are people who give so much of themselves, to fire service and to our department, and that's what fuels you to want to do more.
And like when you mentioned the younger Alex, he showed up here one day. I think it was kind of when we were letting folks be back in the building, and sort of the pandemic is a little bit, we were a little bit still cautious, but we had donuts outside, and the fire truck comes, and Alex comes jumping out of the truck. I'm like, wait a minute. How did you grow up
to
that,
do this? You're supposed to be
I knew you when you were this, this little
exactly.
pip.
Yeah.
So, but it is. And even Lucas Brown.
Yes.
He was here on a call one day. I'm like, what?
I know.
What's happening?
He's full-time in Portland professional now.
I know.
Will Kenaway. So it's great. I love seeing that. I love seeing, those men, that I used to coach as little boys, grow up and do such good stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, do you have siblings?
I have two sisters.
Two sisters.
I have two. They're both younger. One lives in Minnesota, and one lives in Massachusetts, across the street from where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
I live in one of those neighborhoods where you had parents and grandparents, and probably 4 to 5 families where there was a grandparent a door or two down. Where as kids we could walk into 10 houses. We knew where the candy drawer was.
Yeah.
Each one of those houses had a parent or two that could scold you if you're out of line. So
I know that neighborhood well. Yeah, and it's just so important, and I think that there is a little bit of that vibe here too.
Yes.
So there are people who care about your kids, and
we might not be next door to each other, but the care, I don't want to call it oversight, but just looking out, making sure you're okay, and
Even here, when we used to have some of the kids that would walk over from school, and they get out of Consolidated at whatever time, and maybe they got to walk to the library and did a little bit of homework, and they'd have to. This is kind of before cell phones, so did you call your mom and let her know you were here? Okay. And then while you were on the phone, did you tell her that you love her? Okay. I had that happen a few times, and I could hear the moms on the other end saying, "What did you say?"
Who's telling you to say that? Yeah.
So, but it's a nice feel, and we can all make it happen.
Absolutely.
So looking at the next few years of what you're doing, just keep on doing great things.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It feels a little selfish at times, right? Because it makes you feel so good.
Yep.
But my career up until now has been wonderful, but the fire department kind of tugs at different strings. The trust, provides for another type of reward.
Right.
It's been a great way to kind of, maybe they weren't voids, but just kind of fill some gaps so that you do great, really great things.
Yeah. So you mentioned Liberty Mutual. Were you there for a long time?
I was there for 10 years.
10, okay.
I was with Progressive Insurance. So our transition to Maine was, what am I going to do for work? I was actually working in corrections at the time in Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
I had eyes on state police. At the time, the first Gulf War was getting over. I had a 96 on the exam. But with the war coming out, the veteran status allowed for others to go ahead, which I completely am okay with. And Julie, I was working in the prison, emphasis on working, and Julie was managing a restaurant, like 21 or 22.
Wow.
And we were like, I don't think this second shift, third shift work is for us. And that's kind of aligned with the time where we were stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine left Sheriff's Department in Mass, took a job with Progressive Insurance, and said they're hiring in Portland. I said, what are they doing, or what's the job? Had no idea, but applied, got it, and grew. It was Insurance 101 for me. Met some wonderful people who coached and mentored, transitioned that to Liberty. And Liberty, it was at a time where they had just built their new Boston campus and a Plano, Texas campus, and they needed to fill seats. And at my level and above, it was time to come to Boston. And I just said, well, probably not going to happen, but let's buy some time and transition there. So It's wonderful. I have some incredible friendships, just as I do with the fire department or the trust, through both of those companies that I still have today, which is wonderful.
Oh, that's so great. And I bet that helps with your business now, like that background that you have. It's getting people through.
I'm a strategic kind of number strategy process guy. I will watch that person walk down the street and wonder, well, you could have done it a little bit faster if you did it this way. Sometimes to a fault, don't get me wrong. But both, and Julie just brings so much more to it than I do in terms of representing somebody, loyalty and drive. So we complement each other nicely in that regard, and we're excited to see where this next chapter goes. And I'd love for it to grow to a point where maybe it's all I do. In addition to maybe fire department and the trust, at the time being, I do a little bit of everything.
That's so great. Well, I've seen Julie in action with clients. I saw her at a store one day helping somebody. I don't know if they were building a house or redoing a house, and she was with them in a kitchen store or something. And I just said, wow, that woman goes above and beyond, because I've never really known a realtor to do that kind of, really, I mean, she was really helping this lady make some serious decisions. And, it was just, anyway, it was just nice to see that, because I don't know if many people go above and beyond like that. But she's one of them.
She's one of them. There's some wonderful realtors here in town, but we joke. She'll dress up, kind of like you are today, to go for a showing and show up 20 minutes early, and the front walkway looks like it needs to be weeded, and she'll be there bending over and weeding in a dress, and then patting the sweat off her brow before she opens the door, and come home with a dirty finger or two. I'm like, what were you doing? Well, the flowers needed weeding, so it's who she is.
Yeah. Well, I wish you all the great success.
Thank you.
I think I think it's going to be a really nice ride for you.
We hope so. Yeah, we love it here, and it's a way where we can see it as another way to help people.
Yeah.
It's a complicated market. It can be challenging, and bad things can happen if you don't have someone really looking out for you.
That's right. That's right. Well, thanks for sitting down with us.
My pleasure.
Nice to chat with you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being great watchers of our show. And we appreciate it. And we also appreciate Mike Kelly, who never gets enough thanks for being our producer. And firefighter extraordinaire.
He's shaking his head.
Yes, I know. He always does. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you right back here next time.